This is going to be a spoiler review for the Korean thriller 26 Years, mainly because I have a lot to say about this movie. So don't watch this review if you want to watch that film. So 26 Years is a movie about a man and his son after the Gwangju uprising event. 26 years later, this man and his son contact three relatives that lost people during the Gwangju uprising, and they have a plan to kill the ex-president who ordered the atrocities that happened. So this movie is very similar to, you know, those storylines where people get together to try to kill ex-Nazis or something like that, or retired Nazis. It's a very, you know, taut, political-based, emotional thriller. And I really dug that for the most of the film. The first half of the film is the planning of the thing. Then there's this amazing, tense action sequence in the middle of the film that just had me on the edge of my seat. And it was unique. It was taut, well, you know, written. After that event, everything goes to shit. This movie just falls apart. One of the group decides to, you know, wig out and try to turn on them because he doesn't want to go through with the assassination. So they tie him up. He escapes. He's not sure which side he's on. Weakest part of the film. And then, of course, the biggest part of the movie that I didn't like would be the really overly dramatic finale. Essentially, they have their final plan in place. The father-son duo will go in pretending to be someone else. They'll give him a chance to repent. If not, they'll execute him. And then they'll have a backup sniper in one of those like, I don't know what they're called, the lifts? Yeah, she's standing in a lift ready to snipe him as well. And meanwhile, another character, he will run back up with a gang because he's like a gangster. They will run a diversion. So everyone in this movie is incompetent because they can't kill one guy. And I understand, after going on Wikipedia and finding out everything about this movie did have a lot of controversy. First off, it's based off of a manhwa, which is the equivalent of a Korean manga. And it was going to be filmed a couple years before it came out, called 29 Years instead, with a different cast and director. However, funding was pulled because it's too controversial. And then the movie got made eventually, and I feel like in order to appease, you know, the country and the standards of whatever government putting pressure on them, they didn't want to have an explosive ending like Tarantino would. Instead, the movie does the whole super melodramatic, tense standoff, a fade to black gunshot, and then an ending that's up in the air. And then, honestly, it just felt really cheap. And I think probably the worst part of the movie is that there are so many chances that the characters have to kill the person they're after, and they don't. They're too incompetent, or they just miss, or they just... Basically how it goes down is the father-son duo get in there first. They confront the man. They bring him a statue. They hide a gun in the statue. This man is the father character is an ex-military man. Misses him because he hides. The ex-president hides behind the desk. He gets shot by the head of security, but he's still fine. Like he's just like down for the count at the moment. And then when the ex-president goes into the foyer, she tries to snipe him. She misses multiple times because he's hiding in the corner of the room. And their inside man also gets taken down. So the gangster character comes in, runs a diversionary tactic of to get rid of the police outside. However, they can't get a grip on killing, you know, the ex-president. And then the ex-president's head of security turns on him, but not really. And then everyone's about to get arrested. The police find the lift. They try to shoot at her. They try to run a car at the lift, and it all feels unrealistic because these cops are probably corrupt. They're getting paid by the ex-president, so that's why they're taking such, you know, big risks with taking down the sniper in the lift. And then the woman in the lift has a chance to kill the president guy, but she's afraid of also shooting the gangster who she's befriended, and it's really melodramatic and crappy. And then he gets shot, but he's still holding on to the guy, but then she falls off the lift, climbs back up. And honestly, it's like if you're watching the movie Saving Private Ryan, and they're doing that bell tower sniper sequence, and you're waiting for, you know, the American sniper to shoot the German sniper, and he just stands there for 5 minutes, you know, discussing if he can pull the trigger or not. The last 10 minutes of this 26 Years movie is just so infuriating and agonizingly drawn out, and they're trying too hard. And the movie does get very preachy. There are scenes where people are yelling at them. You know, I know the messages they're trying to pull. You know, like there's a scene where a guy screams at a police officer and saying like, "Why are you working for the president? You know, he's a bad man," and all sorts of, you know, preachiness at the end. The whole last 20 minutes of this movie just gets seeped in melodrama, and it just kind of ruins the whole tone of the seriousness of the film. And then of course it's being held back, so you can't have that cathartic ending. So it's like, it's a movie destined to not be cathartic because they can't, you know, do anything controversial, even though it's a fictional story. So 26 Years has a lot of problems. I really like the cast. Everything was going great until the last 30 minutes or so, but overall it's just a film that just feels hobbled artistically, so it can't ever be satisfying on a basic film level. So I give 26 Years a 0 out of 10.